Afghanistan's humanitarian crisis is spiraling into a catastrophe. The Taliban's relentless clampdown on women has forced the United Nations to shut down its 8 centers for Afghan returnees. At the same time, Pakistan's mass deportation campaign has pushed back hundreds of thousands of refugees into a country already struggling with poverty, earthquakes, and repression. Now, with no access to UN support services, thousands of displaced Afghans, most of them women and children, face abandonment. The United Nations has sounded the alarm over an unfolding crisis on Afghanistan's borders. The crisis has been triggered by 2 brutal forces colliding: Pakistan's decision to expel Afghan refugees and the Taliban's ban on women aid workers. Since April this year, Pakistan has resumed its controversial illegal foreigners repatriation plan, forcing Afghan refugees back across the border in massive numbers. On September 9th, the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, shut down 8 key encashment centers across Afghanistan after Taliban authorities barred Afghan female staff from entering. These centers were lifelines for desperate returnees, providing cash grants, biometric registration, medical screening, and confidential interviews. 52% of returnees being women, operations are impossible without female staff. At the very moment when Pakistan is expelling Afghans in record numbers, the Taliban's misogynistic restrictions have left thousands stranded without aid.
On the 9th of September, we took the decision to close our encashment centers. We didn't take this lightly, and we knew that it would have consequences for many returnees.
The numbers tell the story of a humanitarian emergency spiraling out of control. Since April, Pakistan has forced back over 554,000 Afghans. In August alone, 143,000 people were deported, and in just the first week of September, nearly 100,000 people crossed back into Afghanistan. That means close to 7,000 people are now crossing every single day, most of them families who have lost everything and are now cut off from the aid they were promised.
We are experiencing an inflow of about 7,000 people per day, of whom 80% are eligible for the cash grant. So it is a huge step, and it is creating an enormous amount of suffering for these people. As I said, it's operational. We did not feel it would be possible to try to separate men, or possible or desirable to separate men or women, and to deny women access to our services. Unfortunately, this results in nobody receiving the services right now.
At the heart of this paralysis is the Taliban's obsession with erasing women from public life. UN officials say biometric verification, medical checks, and private protection interviews with women returnees cannot be carried out by male staff. This militarized policing of gender apartheid has crippled aid distribution at the very time it is needed most.
The reasons now for the reinforcement are unclear, but what I can say is that it's being done in quite a dramatic fashion with military observers placed outside all of our UN compounds, ensuring that female staff are not able to work.
The impact is devastating. Families deported from Pakistan are left without relief. Women, who make up half the returnees, are now invisible in the aid system. And some of the deportees are also victims of the deadly earthquake that struck Afghanistan on August 31st, leaving thousands homeless. With aid suspended, these communities are facing a double tragedy: displaced by Pakistan and abandoned by the Taliban. Analysts warn that Islamabad's mass deportations are not just a security measure, but a political weapon used to pressure the Taliban regime and exert leverage in bilateral disputes. At the same time, the Taliban's refusal to allow women to work has destroyed what little humanitarian infrastructure remains. Together, Pakistan's expulsions and the Taliban's repression have manufactured a crisis where the most vulnerable, women, children, and the elderly, are left with no escape.